I do not even know how to start this, and I'm writing it because I need to get it out of my head before I explode. I feel like my whole world just tilted sideways, and I can't figure out what's worse, the betrayal, the humiliation, or the fact that I did not see it sooner. I'm 30 years old. I had my daughter when I was just a kid myself, and it's always been me and her against the world. Her dad took off before she was even born. I was 16 and scared. My family judged me. My friends disappeared one by one. But she was always the one thing that kept me grounded. 14 years later, she's still my entire reason for existing. When I met my husband, I thought maybe things were finally changing for the better. I met him when my daughter was around 9. He was charming, funny in a laid back way, and he did not seem scared off by the fact that I already had a kid. A lot of guys I've dated before treated me like baggage, like my daughter was some huge obstacle, but he played the part of the caring stepdad really well. He'd show up with little gifts for her, always asked about her school projects, and sometimes even helped her with math homework when I was too tired from work. I felt like maybe I had finally found someone who could fit into this life we had built. I married him when she was 11. I thought we were solid. I thought I'd finally found a man who was not going to run off at the first sign of responsibility. And over the years, he was not perfect, but no one is, right? He worked, he paid bills, he did dad like things when it counted. He was not some Disney movie prince, but he was steady, or at least I thought he was. The thing about my daughter is she's sensitive but strong at the same time. She does not open up right away when something is bothering her. She bottles it up until it bursts. A few nights ago, I caught her crying in her room. She had her phone clutched against her chest, and I immediately jumped to the conclusion that it was about some boy. She's 14 now, at that age where crushes and heartbreaks start to happen. I sat down, rubbed her back, and tried to comfort her. She kept shaking her head and hiding her face, which only made me more sure that some boy had hurt her feelings. But when she finally shoved the phone at me, what I saw made my stomach drop. It was not messages from some teenage boy. It was messages from my husband, and they were not meant for her. At first, I did not even understand what I was looking at. I thought maybe he was sending her some kind of be home soon text and hit the wrong contact, but no, these were not the kinds of texts a stepfather should ever send a 14-year-old girl. They were not outright graphic, but they were flirty in a way that made me instantly nauseous. They were clearly messages that were meant for me, but he had sent them to her instead. I could see the pattern: pet names he uses with me, inside jokes only we share, emojis I recognize from his usual texting style with me. My daughter was mortified. She had been getting these messages for weeks, maybe longer. She thought he was deliberately sending them to her. She thought her stepdad was hitting on her, and she did not know how to tell me. She thought she was alone with this disgusting secret, and she broke down because the weight of it was too much. I can't describe the rage I felt in that moment. It was like my blood turned to fire. I wanted to scream, break something, and call him right that second and tear into him. But I had to hold it together for her. She was shaking, sobbing, begging me not to be mad at her. She thought she had done something wrong. She thought maybe she had somehow led him on just by existing in her own home. 14 years old and already blaming herself for a grown man's actions. I hugged her, told her she did not do anything wrong, and that I believed her. Then I took her phone and scrolled through every single message. Some of them were just embarrassing, like him calling her baby or cutie the way he calls me. but some crossed into territory that made me want to vomit. Compliments about her body that he definitely should never have made. Accidental winky faces, even one that said, "Thinking of you in that dress," that made me want to throw the phone across the room. When I confronted him, he immediately went into damage control. He claimed it was a mistake. He said he meant every single one of those texts for me and just accidentally sent them to her, over and over again for weeks. Somehow, in his story, it was all just one big mix-up. He even tried to say I should check my phone because he had sent me the real ones too. Like that somehow excused the fact that my 14-year-old daughter was getting messages from her stepfather that made her cry herself to sleep. I do not buy it. Not for 1 second, even if by some impossible coincidence he really did accidentally send every single one of those to the wrong contact. The second he noticed it, he should have come clean to me. The second it happened, he should have apologized to her, explained it was a mistake, and made sure she did not feel violated or confused. But he did not. He just kept doing it. He let her suffer silently, thinking she was being targeted by her own stepdad. And then, to make it worse, he had the nerve to get defensive. He accused me of overreacting, of trying to turn my daughter against him. He said I was looking for a reason to paint him as a bad guy. No acknowledgement of her pain, no apology to her, just excuses and deflection. I swear I almost lost it. I told him to get the hell out of the house. I could not even look at him without wanting to scream. My daughter has been glued to me ever since. She does not want to be alone in her room. She asked if we can lock our bedroom door at night. She flinches when she hears his car in the driveway. That tells me everything I need to know about whether this was innocent or not. She feels unsafe, and if my kid does not feel safe, then he does not belong here. But here's the problem. I feel like my whole marriage just went up in flames overnight. This was not some argument about chores or bills. This was not something we could patch over with therapy or compromise. This was a line that once crossed, there's no coming back from it. I can't even picture a future where my daughter and I live under the same roof as him again. The trust is shattered, and the damage is done. Part of me keeps replaying every moment of the last few years, wondering if there were signs I missed. Did he ever look at her too long? Did he ever volunteer to drive her places for reasons that were not pure? Did I overlook something because I wanted so badly to believe he was a good man? The guilt is eating me alive. I feel like I failed her by letting him into our lives. I was supposed to protect her, and instead she ended up feeling cornered in her own home. I also feel humiliated, like, how do I explain this to people? If I divorce him, everyone's gonna ask why. Do I tell them the truth and risk my daughter's private pain being turned into gossip? Or do I lie and say it just did not work out? Either way, I feel like I lose. He keeps texting me now, trying to apologize. He keeps saying it was not what it looked like. He's begging me not to throw away our marriage over a misunderstanding. He says I'm being dramatic, that I should calm down, that I'm hurting everyone by blowing it up like this. And all I can think is, how dare you? How dare you try to make me feel like the villain when my daughter was crying in her bed, terrified and ashamed because of you? I can't forgive him. I do not even want to try. I'm looking at apartments because I do not even want him to know where we'll be living once I kick him out for good. My priority is my daughter and making sure she never has to second guess her safety again. I'd rather be alone forever than put her in harm's way like this again. I'm furious, I'm hurt, and I'm done. But here's where I start second guessing myself, because he's really good at making me feel like I'm crazy. He twists everything around, acts like I'm paranoid, like I'm inventing reasons to hate him. And I start to wonder, am I being too harsh? Is there any universe where this could really have been a misunderstanding? Or am I right to trust my gut and protect my kid no matter what? I don't know. Maybe I'm too close to it to see clearly. That's why I'm writing this here, because I need strangers to tell me if I'm losing it or if I'm justified. So, AITA for ending my marriage over this and throwing my husband out after finding those messages? Update 1. I was not planning to write an update, but I have been sitting with everything and the memories keep flooding back, and I think a lot of people do not really understand how much history there is behind this whole situation. It's not just about what happened with my husband and those texts. It's about everything that came before it, everything that shaped me and my daughter's life, and why this betrayal cuts so deep. I was a teen mom, 16 years old, when I found out I was pregnant. My daughter's biological father disappeared the second I told him. Literally the same day, he never looked back, never asked about her, never sent a single dime. He was gone before she was even born. I raised her alone, and it was brutal. I was still a kid myself, trying to figure out how to get through high school, how to work, how to afford diapers and formula, how to ignore the stares and comments from people who thought they knew better than me. I lost almost every friend I had back then because nobody wanted to hang out with the girl who had a baby. I went from being a regular teenager to being a mom overnight, and there was no safety net. But I did it. I figured it out one step at a time. I worked shifts that left me exhausted. I dragged myself through school while also dragging around a diaper bag, and I learned how to put my own needs on hold because she came first every single time. I remember nights crying into a pillow because I was so tired and so broke. But I'd look at her tiny face and remind myself she did not ask to be here, and it was on me to give her the best life I could. So for 14 years, it's been me and her. She's my everything. My daughter is not just my child, she's my partner in survival. We grew up together in a way, and because of that, our bond is different. She trusts me. I know when something is wrong, even if she does not say it. And because I know the weight of being abandoned, I swore to her I would never let anyone make her feel unwanted or unsafe. Fast forward to when I met my husband. My daughter was about 9. I was tired of being alone, tired of shouldering everything by myself, and here comes this man who seemed so stable. He had a job, he had his own place. He did not flinch when I said I had a kid. He leaned into it, actually. He showed up with little gifts for her, cracked jokes with her, acted like he wanted to be a part of our team. It was such a relief to feel like someone saw me as more than just the girl with baggage. He was not scared of the responsibility, at least that's what I thought. For a while, I let myself believe I had chosen right. When he moved in and started helping with bills, I felt like maybe I was finally allowed to breathe. When he married me, I thought it was a fresh start, a chance to rewrite the story of my life. I thought I'd finally built a real family for my daughter, one where she'd have a father figure who would not abandon her like her biological dad did. I convinced myself that after all the years of struggling, I had finally given her something stable. And that's why this whole thing with the messages is not just about some accidental texts. It's about realizing I gambled my daughter's safety on the wrong man. I let him in. I let him close to her. I trusted him to be better than the one who walked away before she was born. And he still ended up failing her. Maybe even worse, because disappearing is one thing, but making a child feel unsafe in her own home is another level of betrayal I can't even wrap my head around. Now I look back at all the times I defended him, all the times I brushed off small things because I thought he deserved the benefit of the doubt, And I just feel stupid. I chose him. I said yes when he proposed. I said yes to building a life together. I said yes to letting him be in her world. And now I see that I was wrong. I picked the wrong man to share our lives with, and it's my daughter who paid the price for that mistake. I keep replaying those years as a single teen mom, struggling to survive, and part of me wonders if I was actually doing better back then because at least she was safe. At least there was not some man in the house sending her texts that made her cry. At least it was just me and her figuring things out together. I wanted to believe I was giving her something better by remarrying, but now I see that all I really did was open the door to someone who did not deserve us. So yeah, I'm angry. Angry at him, angry at myself, angry at how everything played out. I feel like I broke the promise I made to her the day she was born, that I would protect her from everything I could. I let him in, and he turned out to be exactly the kind of man she never needed in her life. I don't care anymore what excuses he throws at me. I don't care if he calls them mistakes or accidents or whatever else. I have lived through worse, and I have survived worse, and I can damn well survive this without him too. I have done it before. I will do it again. I'd rather go back to struggling as a single mom than ever risk my daughter's safety and peace of mind for the sake of a marriage that was not real to begin with. And that's where I am right now. I chose the wrong man. And the only thing left to do is choose differently this time. For myself and for her. Update 2. I wanted to give an update because a lot has happened since my last post. This time, I'm not going to talk about feelings or emotions. This update is only about the steps I have taken and where things stand legally right now. The morning after everything happened, I contacted a lawyer. I did not waste time. I knew this was not something I could handle on my own. I was not about to let him manipulate the situation or try to twist it in his favor. I went straight to a family and criminal lawyer who was recommended to me, explained the situation, and handed over my daughter's phone with the messages saved. That phone is now part of the case. The lawyer told me right away that what I had was strong evidence. The pattern of text, the language used, the length of time it went on, and the fact that my daughter's 14, all of it paints a very clear picture. Even if he tries to argue that the texts were accidental, the repeated nature of it destroys that defense. No judge or jury is going to believe someone accidentally sends that many inappropriate messages to a minor. The lawyer immediately suggested we move on two fronts: divorce proceedings and criminal action. On the divorce side, we filed immediately for a dissolution of marriage on grounds of misconduct. The texts make it clear this is not a normal case of irreconcilable differences. My lawyer also filed for an emergency protective order so that he cannot come near me or my daughter. That was granted within 48 hours. He's not allowed at the house, at my workplace, or at my daughter's school. The locks are changed, and my daughter and I are safe here. The divorce petition also included requests for spousal support denial and division of assets in my favor, citing his misconduct. My lawyer explained that in cases like this, especially where children are involved and inappropriate behavior is directed at them, judges lean heavily towards protecting the child and punishing the offending spouse. I am confident that he won't walk away with much. On the criminal side, my lawyer coordinated with the police. A report has been filed. The phone was handed over to the authorities so that forensic specialists can verify the messages, metadata, and confirm there's no tampering. They are also pulling his phone records to back it up. And right now the case is being investigated under charges of communication nature with a minor and grooming. My lawyer also mentioned that the P word is not usually the charge itself, but the behavior falls under categories like solicitation, grooming, and attempted exploitation of a child. Based on the evidence, she's confident charges will stick. The police interviewed my daughter with a child advocate present. This was done in a safe environment, and I was not in the room so she could speak freely. From what I was told afterwards, she was able to explain how she received the text, how long it had been happening, and how it made her feel. That testimony is now part of the criminal case. My lawyer said she was incredibly brave for handling it the way she did. Meanwhile, my husband has already been served with divorce papers and notified of the protective order. According to my lawyer, he was caught off guard and tried to downplay everything at first. He's now lawyered up himself, but from what I hear, his side does not have much to work with. All they can really do is try to claim mistake or accident, which, as I said before, won't hold up when the evidence shows weeks of this behavior. Because of the protective order, he can't contact me or my daughter directly. All communication goes through lawyers. That part has been a relief because it means no more manipulative texts or attempts to guilt me into taking him back. My lawyer said if he even tries to contact us outside of legal channels, he risks being arrested immediately. We are also preparing for the financial side. My lawyer advised me to open a new bank account in just my name, which I have done. She told me to document all shared assets, income, and property. We have already filed for temporary sole control over the marital home. If the judge grants that, he won't be able to force a sale or interfere while the divorce is ongoing. Since the misconduct involved my daughter, my lawyer believes the court will grant me full control without hesitation. In terms of custody, there is none to fight over because he is not her biological father. That simplifies things. He has no legal rights to her, so there's no risk of him getting visitation. That was one of my biggest worries, but the lawyer reassured me that he has zero claim. The only thing to settle is property and finances. The criminal case will likely move slower than the divorce, but it's already in motion. The district attorney has been briefed, and from what my lawyer said, charges should be formally filed within the next few weeks once the forensic phone analysis is completed. She said the DA does not like to drag these cases out because of the impact on the child, so it should move quicker than other criminal cases. Right now, the likely outcome is that he will face charges of electronic communication with intent to exploit a minor, possibly grooming and possibly attempted solicitation. My lawyer explained that the specific charges vary depending on state statutes, but all of them are felonies. If convicted, he will be a registered offender for life. That alone would follow him everywhere. Jobs, housing, reputation. His entire future will be defined by that record. As for the divorce timeline, we have a temporary hearing scheduled in a few weeks where the judge will decide on immediate property division and continued enforcement of the protective order. After that, the full divorce proceedings will go forward. My lawyer said it could take several months to finalize everything, but she's confident we'll come out on top because the evidence is so heavily in my favor. Update 3. It's been 6 months since I last posted, and I wanted to make one final update to close this chapter completely. This will be long, but I know a lot of people followed along, and I do not want to leave it hanging. Everything legal is finished. My daughter and I have moved. We are safe. The divorce is finalized. The court ruled firmly in my favor. He fought for some assets at first, but the judge did not waste time siding with him. The text and the protective order made it clear who was in the wrong. He left with nothing but his personal belongings. He did not get the house, he did not get spousal support, and he certainly did not get to drag out the process. The judgment cited his misconduct and granted me sole control of everything we had built together. The protective order was extended permanently. That means he has no way to contact me or my daughter directly or indirectly. If he tries, he risks immediate arrest. All communication that had to happen during the divorce went through lawyers, and now that the divorce is finalized, there's no reason for him to contact me at all. He is completely cut off. The criminal case is also done. Once the forensic report on the phone came back, the district attorney filed charges. He stalled at first, tried to argue accident again, but the evidence spoke for itself. Weeks of inappropriate messages, all saved, all linked directly to him. His story fell apart under scrutiny. He ended up taking a plea deal. That means he admitted guilt in exchange for a lighter sentence. But the conviction is permanent. He is now a registered offender, and that's for life. He will never escape that label. The conviction included probation, mandatory counseling programs, and restrictions on where he can go and what he can do. He can't be within a certain distance of schools, playgrounds, or any facilities involving kids. He will be monitored. His name will show up on every registry. Anyone who looks him up will see what he did. That's his reality now. The best part of the criminal outcome is that my daughter never had to testify in court. She did not have to sit in front of strangers and talk about what happened. She gave her statement months ago to the child advocate, and that was enough. Between her statement and the phone evidence, the DA had everything needed to secure a conviction. She was spared the trauma of a trial, and I'm endlessly thankful for that. After all of that was finalized, I made the decision not to stay in the marital home, even though I was legally awarded it. The house felt poisoned. Too many memories, too many ghosts. I did not want my daughter to spend her teenage years in a place tied to everything she went through. I sold the house and used the money to move us into a new apartment in another part of town. The apartment's not huge, but it's ours, it's fresh. There's nothing of him here. No furniture he picked, no rooms he walked through, no spaces that feel tainted. Just new walls, new routines, and peace. The first night we slept there, my daughter said she felt like she could finally breathe. That moment alone was worth every bit of stress from the move. We have settled into new routines. It's smaller, so it feels cozier, and I think that's been good for her. She spends time in her room, drawing or listening to music. She's invited friends over for the first time in months, something she stopped doing entirely when he was still around. She does not hover in the living room anymore because she's scared to be alone. She feels safe, and that's all I wanted. As for her overall well-being, she's doing better than I ever hoped. She's 15 now, and she's been through more than a kid should have to, but she's resilient. The first months after everything came out were rough. She barely slept. She jumped at every sound. She clung to me constantly, but now 6 months later I see a different girl. She's laughing again. She's meeting friends at the park. She's joining school clubs. She's making plans for the future. Little things like wanting to learn an instrument or talking about high school electives. She's growing into herself again instead of shrinking away. She told me one night that this new apartment feels like her real home now because she does not have to be on guard here. That sentence told me we made the right move. Therapy has helped both of us. She's been going regularly, and having someone outside the family to talk to has been a huge relief for her. She does not always want to tell me every detail of what's on her mind, and that's fine. She needs a safe space where she can unpack things without worrying about me. I see the result in how much lighter she seems after sessions. I have been in therapy too, working through my own guilt and the choices I made. It's been necessary. I do not want to carry the past forward into our future. Day-to-day life now feels ordinary again. That might sound boring, but to us it's a gift. School, work, grocery shopping, movie nights at home, weekends spent doing errands or going for walks. It's stable. No more legal paperwork, no more court dates, no more waiting for phone calls from lawyers. Just life. The way it should be. I don't know what the future holds long term, but I know this. He's out of our lives completely, and he will never get another chance to harm us. My daughter is safe. I'm safe. We are rebuilding, and this time it's just us, like it always was meant to be. This will be my last update. Everything that needs to happen legally is done. Everything we needed to do for safety is in place. We have moved, we have settled, and we have started again. We are okay. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.